This is one of the best experiences I had working in a short film. I had always had an idea of what this film would be, which is basically a chase film. That was the approach. But since we had done a somewhat chase short film before this with the Wes Anderson inspired The Great Thievery, we wanted to do something different with a similar premise, and so the ground that we wanted to tread was to shoot a chase movie with a slightly more serious tone, especially compared to the previous short film. The film begins with a supposed cop chasing a victim on a cycle. Our goal with this scene is to make them feel fast and for the audience to understand their spatial relation with each other. So shots with the person being chased looks back and the shot cutting to the pursuer lets us know that the pursuer is yet to catch up with his target. For this shot to make them feel fast, our cameraman Adithya Kiran ran forward while we cycled in the opposite direction to give the illusion of speed. The sharp camera pans make it feel more intense as another pursuer slash cop joins in on the chase. The target makes his way inside, but the initial pursuer for some reason passes by and takes another route, for which we don't know the reason, but the second pursuer follows the target. There's another sharp camera pan to let us know who is chasing who and where they are. Then we are in the perspective of the second pursuer. The camera tracks his movements, and as it does, you will see the cameraman briefly visible through the reflection of this window. But besides that, our view is as limited as that of the cop. For a small moment, he sees the target cycle parked, but before he could join the dots, he's attacked and beaten. Now, as the target drags the cop, the camera whip pans to the first cop entering the scene. Now, this is the payoff to the setup of him taking a separate route earlier on. As in terms of the actual geography of the apartment this was shot on, this shortcut makes sense. And why we chose to do a whip pan here was an improvisational decision. Our actor Krish, the target, had to go home and we had to shoot the second half of the film in the basement on the second day of shoot. So we had to shoot his and the cop's portion separately on the same day. Which is why we realized that we could hide a cut in the whip pan and still make it seem like the cop is on the tail of his target. I really like this shot where we see the cop enter the frame and open the door, which leads us to realize that the camera was initially behind the glass. Now, this is where one of my favorite creative decisions takes place. I will play a small clip from this movie and I want you to tell me whether you noticed something. And if you did, that's great because most people I asked did not. Now, let me tell you what we did. The film has a certain aspect ratio which explains these bars you see on the top and bottom of the screen. And as the cop runs down to the basement, a location where the space feels vast and more open, we wanted to play with the aspect ratio and we remove the bars completely when he reaches below. But we simply can't just cut and change the ratio. So in this brief shot, if you see, I removed the aspect ratios, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, the basement was one of the most vital locations to shoot in and an important part of this film because we wanted to put the cop in a situation where he finds it extremely difficult to catch the thief. And since the basement feels like a maze where I often found myself getting lost inside quite easily, I decided to shoot a part of the chase here. And from here begins the extremely lengthy one-take shot where we decided to use this technique to its advantage to shift perspectives. So we go from following the cop to following the target to the target hiding from the cop who's right behind him. This moment is all about staging, building suspense through characters' spatial relationship with each other. Then, as the two men chase each other, the single take continues as our cameraman is given the heavy duty of outrunning the both of them. The target heads one way, but suddenly the cop decides to diverge. Eventually, we realize that he had tried to intercept the target through a shortcut, but he disappeared. As he walks towards one direction, that's when the first cut in this entire long take sequence is made, as we are given vital pieces of information to the audience about where the target is hiding and how close the pursuer is to catching him. Now, of course, this one take sequence isn't actually shot in one take. There are two hidden cuts actually. One is here, and the other one is here. We again use whip pans to hide the cuts to make it seem like it's a single take. Now, as the pursuer is about to catch his target, it's shot from his perspective because when he realizes that the target isn't there, it's a surprise for both us and him. Upon finding him, they chase each other yet again. As the target attacks the pursuer and gets away, he lingers across the halls only to look down at an arrow. Now, we had given special significance to this arrow when the cop had first entered the basement, visually showcasing how everything had come full circle. The two players are back to where they started, and this time there is no way out. The target is shot twice in the back, and the final shot of the movie is from the target's POV as he finds the cop right in front of him. Now, at this moment, the target is caught. He must be feeling claustrophobic, which is why, just for this shot, the aspect ratio bars return, tightening the space, and then he's shot dead. Then there's also this funny post-credit scene for which I had an idea during the shooting day. After the cop kills his target, he meets his senior as they talk about why the cop killed his target, and it's shot in simple standard shot reverse shots. After the supposed dead cop gets back up, and when the first cop realizes that he's screwed, that's when I break the flow of the shot reverse shot and frame him individually in the center of the frame. He is alone. There is no way he can escape now. I decided to cut to a wide shot because that makes the scene funnier, because when you go wide, you can see the body language of the people. And I decided to end the movie on a freeze frame of his worried face. I made the audience familiar with the shot reverse shot pattern so that I could break it when he's screwed to add to the comedic effect of the scene. And with this, the short film ends. I hope you like this breakdown of our short film Pursue. There were a lot of interesting things to talk about, and so I thought it would be a fun video idea. There's a lot of effort and thought put behind this, so yeah. And thanks for watching. Like the video, share it, subscribe. You know the drill. It's literally what we do. And just have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.